So just like that, we have finished the 65th book of the Bible, 64th and 65th, if we're talking about first and second and third John. And what will be left will be the last book of the Bible, the book of Revelation, which God willing we'll start to read tomorrow. I am so excited. Now, just to jump in, I'll share lessons that I learned from these two very short books. The letters were written by the Apostle Paul, and apparently they were written as a set. So the first, second, and third, and they all, arrived to the church at that time as one package. And he wrote these two letters to the elect, or this chosen lady and her children, which from all indication referred to the church at the time, the church family. And he appeared to be very close with the church family. From the way the letters were written, I detected nuances of intimacy, in the letters, and he expressed his love for them quite freely in them. Now, John is very often called the love apostle. And I understand that because in this book, there's a very heavy emphasis that I picked up on truth and love, especially in 2 John. Now, let me just share some of the lessons that I learned. So, love without truth is foolish, and truth without love is arrogant. But together, they strike the right balance demonstrated by Christ. Now, I got that from the Bible recap podcast from Tara Lee Cobble, which I told you that I listened to. I thought it was just an amazing sort of encapsulation of that love and truth narrative that 2 John had going on. And in verses 5 to 6, I learned that the way to live in love and truth is by obeying what Christ commanded us, which essentially his command is walk in love, because the greatest command, which John said he wasn't giving to them anew, was basically love God, love others. So basically, walking in love was the way to live in truth and love. Now, John emphasized that love doesn't mean blindly opening our doors to anyone. Like when he was warning them, we must be discerning to identify deceivers and manipulators and close our doors to them. And that was one lesson that actually, bookmarked for myself, because many times I just think that, walking in love, just be nice, just be open, but then if you are open, and I mean, like, I don't mean like close off too, but then I believe that, discernment will help you to set the right boundaries, especially when you're dealing with manipulators or deceivers. And I was so glad to see that it was something that John was warning the church about at the time. Now, a common theme here between 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John is a warning to the church against the Antichrist. Remember, I spoke about that yesterday. We are to be watchful and guard our faith against those who don't have Christ and who teach false doctrine. Like we said, it's the people that are just unsteady souls, and just, if anything, just gives you cause to doubt or to rethink things. You might fall into, believing false doctrines, and also it's very important to, guard against them. Now, 3rd John was written to the church leader, most likely to the church, the same church that he was writing to in John 2. And the leader's name was Gaius. And John was writing to him. It was a letter of support, noting his faithfulness and encouraging him to continue doing good. Now, my main takeaway from this book was how important it is to find people who display godly character and goodness to the world around them, and consider those people as an example to me. Now, I don't want to use the word imitate because it can be a bit dicey, but identifying those good things from the people and trying to imitate them. And I'll tell you where I got this from. In chapter 11 of 3rd John, it says, "Dear friend, do not imitate what is evil, but what is good. Anyone who does what is good is from God, and anyone who does what is evil has not seen God." So for me, it was really just about finding those good mentors, if you like, or people who I've seen. And obviously the Holy Spirit has to play a very heavy role in this, in being able to give me that discernment to be able to say, okay, these are godly traits that I should try to imbibe. So that's one of the things I've put on my list for the kind of things that I'm trying to grow and build myself up for 2023. Have you made a list? Now, I don't like to call them resolutions but I always have like plans for what I want my year to be like. Anyway, let me share my lesson. And it is Jesus is the line of demarcation between truth and lies, life and death. As we know from John 14:6, it says Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And John referenced antichrists, which are essentially those, like I said, who do not believe in or accept Christ. But in all of this, Christ is merciful and he's full of love, wanting all of us to come to his saving knowledge. So as Christians, I believe that we need to do all we can to preach the gospel and to bring people into the knowledge of Christ. And sometimes we think that preaching is like, or we think evangelizing is like going to preach. Sometimes it's just your life. The way you live your life could be the gospel or the Bible that people read. And so that's that's one of the lessons, or the greatest lesson that I learned from these verses. So thank you for joining me today. Tomorrow we'll start with the book of Revelation, and I cannot wait to start that with you. Thank you for joining me. God bless you.